In this video, I will talk about creating eye-catching blocks on your website. And we're talking about WordPress websites, and we're talking about coaches' websites. And what I'm going to do is just share some of the things that I'm working on or have worked on, and just point out some good design principles, some things, good usability ideas. You want your site to look good and be easy to use, easy to read. And so when we say the word eye-catching, that can mean a lot of things, but I think on a very simple level, when people come to websites, do the colors feel good? Does the spacing feel good? Does it have, especially a coach's website, does it have life to it? Is there a coach there that's present? And I think there are a lot of things that go into making a website eye-catching or engaging or inviting. But specifically, let me point out some things when it comes to WordPress and blocks, which I'm also going to add in the idea of sections to a page, and make it eye-catching. Okay, so I think the best way, I try to organize this stuff in a step-by-step, 3 tips, 5, and I have a lot to say, and I think it's probably best for me to just show you what I'm working on, share some design ideas, and you can take what you find best from it. Okay, so eye-catching blocks, WordPress websites for coaches. Okay, so let's go in here. Okay, so in front of me is my website, coaching-sites-that-work.com, and I'm logged in. So I got this little extra bar at the top, quick utility stuff. But if you look at my homepage, and first thing I do want to talk about is blocks and sections. So lots of times when you go to websites, you'll see, you go through it, and okay, here's I'm on my homepage, here's a section of blog posts. And down here, here's a section to get on my email list. Here's a section promoting the book I wrote. And here's a section on some testimonials. And on my homepage, I have it set up this way so you can quickly scroll through and see what's there and get a sense of just some of the main things that I want to highlight on the site. And that's how homepages are. They're a great place to start on your website. There are different ways to do homepages, but for many and for most and for what people expect, it's a place where you can start and you get an idea of what's there, and then you dig in deeper. So sections versus blocks. Now, if you're new and you've heard of WordPress, you might have run into the idea of a block editor. It's a new way they've changed the editing environment so that you work more with blocks as opposed to just like a column of text, like a kind of a Word document. So it does. I will get into that in a moment. I'll show you these different blocks. Blocks are just pieces you can move around on a page, and text blocks, image blocks. It's a nice way to lay out pages. It's really a nice tool, and it's a good move that WordPress went to this year, or was it late last year, or last year? But I think what's more useful as you get to know WordPress and getting your website up, and you're a new coach and you're going to build your site, or you're having a designer work on it, and you want to kind of organize your content. The idea of sections. So here on my homepage, I have at the top is the menu and logo, so you know where you're at. And then the first section is this white area here. It has a statement, a headline here, and then some text, and a picture of me and my laptop, and a little nature behind me. And it says, designing websites that you and your clients will love. Hi, I'm Kenn Schroder, website designer for coaches. And it just gives you a quick summary of what this site is about and learn more about working with me here. So this is my main quick summary, what I am, what's here at this site, a bit about what the client can get, designing websites you and your clients will love, building your website to be professional, getting traffic online. So it does say stuff about what the clients get too. I think it's important in all your content to make sure you're pointing out what it is and why it's good for your clients. But here, just landing on my site, just getting a sense of what's here. There's a web designer. He works on coaches' websites. So now you get a sense of what that is. And so it's clearly that there's a next section coming here just by the background color of the site. Okay, so it's kind of a change from white to blue, and it's not subtle. It's quite obvious. And now this section called blog posts on coaching websites. Here's a section here. You can see like a bunch of little images and headlines I can click on. And there's another obvious section. You can see it changes. Now these are sections. I think homepages are a great place to use sections to give people a sense of what's on your site and where they can start diving in. Now, someone might come to my site and say, "Oh yeah, Ken has a book somewhere." Okay, and they scan. Okay, oh, there's his book. Or at the top, it's there, the guide. Okay, or it could be the book, might be better. But it's called the Coaching Website Guide. And so I consistently use the word the guide around here. Okay, so we have sections on the homepage. And so when it comes to your coaching website and your homepage, I would recommend you get clear on what the main things you want to highlight on your website are. If you're new and you just have an about me page and just get in touch or book an appointment here, and then maybe just some key service that you offer, one-on-one coaching, then maybe those are just the three things you explain on you have sections for on your homepage. If you're a bit more developed, you have a course or you have an email list. Okay, those are other things you can put as sections on your homepage. Okay, so sections. Homepage is good for sections. Other pages, let me go to the guide. This is a book that I sell, an ebook. And this page, when you make a page, it's the call to action here is to buy something. This is my $129 book. To pay $129 for it, the value must be built up and be worth it. So I have generally, the more action you want to get out of a person, the more content you'll need to get that action. Okay, that's just generally speaking. So here's a sales page for the book. It tells you a summary, what's in it. It gives you a story of why I wrote the book, why it exists, what problem it solves. And then I have content down here with, what's inside the book. And then, here's more about what's inside it. You can look at chapter 1 for free. And so I have a bunch of content, testimonials, quite a few, some bonuses that you get with it. So this is a much longer page. And on this page, there's a lot of sections on here. There's a summary at the top. There's a story for the book. But you'll see that these sections, I made much more subtle the differences. You can see it's very light blue. You can almost not even notice it, but you know that something new is coming. You got a big headline, and you've got just a slight change in the background saying it's another piece of content. But you don't lose track of the fact that this whole page is for the guide. Okay, so you clicked on the page, the guide, and this page is all about the guide. So while there are definitely a variety of sections on here, this whole thing still supports the guide. And you can see I have, buttons. I want the guide. I want the guide. So this is my main call to action. I want the guide. You click on that, and it says buy the guide or buy the kit. Another option here. Okay, so but this page is has lots of sections on it, and so it's important to think about your sections. The homepage may have sections that are clearly and obviously different for different places to go deeper into the site. But when it comes to a page like a sales page or even my about me page, I'd recommend that if you have different sections on there, don't make them so starkly different, because your page is still about one topic about me. I see a lot of websites, especially coaches' websites, well, it's a zoo. You've got the top section, you got this section, you got different colors, you got everything. Meanwhile, the one page is like an article or an about me page, and then it has like all these various colors, and you kind of get lost. And you click on this and you go to that, and then and sometimes you can't tell it's an article because it's so many different sections just stuffed into it, and you get a mess. You get hard to read and hard to stay focused on what's going on that page. So be careful with your sections. Make sure that if they're going to be very varied in like the background or very different fonts and all this stuff, make sure that that it's serving that purpose. That like on the homepage, you can have a lot more variety. On an article page, you want to keep it, you continue through the article smoothly. So be careful not to use sections and be too crazy in design. With a lot of websites, it's easy to just get in, stuff in every last bell and whistle, and you just get, it's fun as a coach building your site. Oh, wow, look at this thing moving now. Wow, this is so cool. But as your customers come, you looking at it, and your clients are trying to get through it, they get lost. Okay, so be careful how you use your sections. So make sure your sections help support the page that it's for. Okay, so make sure that they're intentional. Stark, different sections, perhaps on the home page, but other pages like an about me page, don't make it so chaotic and overly separated throughout the page. You can have visuals, you can have little diagrams, images, you can have checklists, little symbols and stuff, but do not lose the reader by making the pages too wild. Okay. All right. So having said that, eye-catching. So now if I look on my homepage, now you can think of eye-catching as having like 10 different fonts, an amazing image, and all these things. But again, within each section that you put on your page, I would do it in a way that does not cause chaos. It keeps people aligned and keeps people not lost and understanding where they are. So here's a section on my page. You can call this eye-catching. It's got a cool image in the background, and it's got some fun text. It's got this fun little handwriting font. It's quite personal. It's got an email list sign up here. So it has visual appeal. It has a nice image, and it has a little icon doohickey down here. But the amount of white space that's here prevents it from getting overly cluttered. Now, text on a background image is generally frowned upon, but just a little bit of text on a background image, and I've tinted the background image dark so that the white pops. This just doesn't lose people. This is easy enough to follow and get the points here. You don't want to have text on a background and a massive amount of it in a very crazy looking background, and it becomes very hard to read. So using good images is definitely a way to make things pop, but be careful not to lose people. Again, really the story here is don't lose people. And if you overdo things, that's how people get lost. Use a tasteful few things well, and that'll do a lot. So here's a section. It has a background image, and I'll go into what the block editor looks like, so you can see kind of how this block is set up. And that's a WordPress thing, and it's cool and it's fun. But you can make a mess real fast. So this block here, one good thing about to do with your sections on your page is when someone scrolls to a section, especially on a laptop, which what you're looking at now, you want that section to fill a good portion of the screen. If it's too small, then sections get confusing where one begins and ends. Like often you'll see lots of small, medium-sized, different size sections, and then it's knowing where a section begins and ends and its purpose. You want to make that clear. Here, it's clear. Get website tips from over 20 years of work online. You name an email here. It's clear what this section is. It takes up most of the screen, and that's what I want there. I go to the next section. Oh, great. Make your coaching website attractive and engaged. Here's my book. Put my best stuff from 20 years of work online into one beefy PDF. Okay, so that's the next section. You can see where it begins and ends. And here's a final section on the homepage, just testimonials. And you can see where that begins and ends as well. And it's clear what that is. So there's testimonials. Here's a blog section, which takes up more than one screen. But it's clear where it begins and ends. And it sticks to what it has, just a bunch of headlines you can start diving into. And again, at the top of my homepage, there's this section here. A good thing to do with sections is to be careful. And on your website as a coach, new websites, it's going to be mostly content and text. Maybe a video, maybe a diagram if you really pull together something cool. But what I would suggest you keep away from is using too many columns. Here on this website, on my website, you see I have text on the left and an image on the right. So an image and the text, it's all related. It's right there. It's clear what that is. This is what I do. Design websites that you and your clients will love. I'm Kenn Schroder. There's a picture of a guy. Looks like a web designer, has a laptop. So it's one story right there, and it's 2 columns, an image and text on the left. The thing with multiple columns is once you go to a mobile device, those columns get shifted on top of each other, and they'll often do things you don't intend. You're like, oh, this goes on the bottom here, and that doesn't fit there, and like, oh, and then you're on a phone, so it's narrower. So now you got to scroll through to see it all, and then now this whole thing is massively long. So things go hairy when your sections have multiple columns. So that's tricky. I often like keeping things just to 1 column, 2 columns at best. 2 columns can get tricky real fast. Like, let me squeeze this. I'm going to squeeze my screen down so that you can see what happens with the image. Okay, so the image stacks. I have the right image going on top and the text to the left. You can see where this section begins and ends. It's a white background, and that's okay. So my face is there, and so here on the phone it looked like this. Okay, and then the next section is blue, and you can see blog posts. So vertically, here's a bunch of articles. And then here's that email list on a phone. So it actually, it's still clear and it still works. It doesn't get too hairy. But when you have 3 columns, and when the first time you do a layout, first time you get in there and lay out your page, you'll find that things get hairy real fast. Things get complex quite fast. I recently switched to a different sort of layout tool for my blogs. And so if I shift from a desktop to a tablet, let me show you a little hiccup that I have that it's not working right. So here I go. Here's on a desktop. So it's 3 items, 3 columns. And now when I go to a tablet, it's 2 columns, which is okay, except now because I'm doing something different, there's a little gap here, and one of these things didn't fall there. Okay, so I have a little bit of a hiccup, and for me to find a different plugin and reorganize things is just would make it just perfect. But I have other things I need to do, like make this video for you and show you how things can get hairy real fast. So keeping it simple, you've probably heard before, and that's really a good thing to do when it comes to these sections on your page. Okay. Making eye-catching blocks, or what most people would think of are sections on a site. The blocks is a little bit more refined and more behind the scenes, which I'm going to go into in a moment. Do I have anything else I want to share with you about eye-catching? One other tip I'll throw at you is if you do have a section on a page, having an image that goes with it, text and an image. You have a bunch of text and a little visual. That's usually a good combination to have. And make sure that the image is related to the text. Try not to put too many. Definitely don't put too many purposes inside a section. Here, the section is just about, here's my book, go check it out. Here's my list, get on it. Here are blogs, pick one to read. Welcome to my site is what I do. Learn about my web design services here. Okay, so down here, testimonials. Okay, there's 2 images because each person has a face, but it makes sense there. Keep them simple. Overall, on a design on a website, you want to keep a consistent color scheme, a consistent feel. Mine is this black with this thick heading font. I use it throughout, and then some form of a laptop, looking productive. I have a little bit of nature going in there, but there's always going to be a laptop and getting to work on stuff. I try to pull in a little bit of plant nature into the image because that always feels good. Okay, so try to be consistent with your colors. I have black and then a touch of nature, but there's always going to be a laptop and this teal color. So you can see the teal is used throughout. There's black, thick black, that's used throughout. My hair is black, so it shows up in often enough. Eye-catching. So, again, so there's a quick summary for eye-catching. Just something that welcomes you in, something that has a feel that you're not going to get lost. It's organized in a way that makes sense. Yeah, often simple is the way to go, especially if you're new, setting up a website. Avoid too much of everything. Avoid too many fonts. Avoid too many images. Avoid too many of a lot of things, and try and go for less. Exactly what you're trying to get across, and clear. Okay, let me go into the blocks, and this is called the block editor. Gutenberg is the fun name, super nerdy name, but it's the block editor of WordPress. Actually, let me just one quick, before I do go into that, there was another website I wanted to share with you. Here's a client of mine, Lisa. Let me quickly just show you her website. So we have this one is, so let me just show you. We have a header at the top. We have that intro section. Here's Lisa. Not only am I a recovery specialist, but I'm also a survivor too. You're not alone. Some content about what she does. Call to action to get help now. And then we have a section of logos here. So quickly let people know what logos, things that she's involved in or associations and credibility. And so her clients will see this like, oh, she's a well-being resource. She's part of the Sacramento, resilience group, Mind Body Radio she's been on. It's little indicators here. But you see this section is tiny and small and thick and black. And it's just a quick, here's some logos. So it serves that purpose. And then there's a block of content on here, how to stop suffering from the past and start living joyfully in the present. And this is a bit of a longer section. This is just a story. This is the story of why our business exists. And but you can see it's easy to know where it begins and ends. Here's a thing of text. Here's, imagine having a calm, healthy sense of control over your feelings and emotions. Why is it difficult to deal with past trauma? And it's short enough that you can read this and then get help now. So this is more of an executive summary on her homepage, and not a like the small blocks on my site. A little bit different, but it should be clear where blocks begin and end. Here's her email list, and here's some testimonials. Here's call to action to get help now. Okay, so here's her site, and if I go to her Meet Lisa page, we have content, and there's a thin separation between sections because it's still part of the same page, Meet Lisa. So we want to talk about Lisa and her story and credentials. And we did sneak in a big image here. There's no text on it, so it doesn't invite you to the idea that this is a separate section. This is just, and it's her. It looks very personal. So this also supports Meet Lisa. Okay, there's that. Formal training. Okay, so this page supports Meet Lisa, and we have some images in there. We have text, and we're using sections not to confuse people. Okay, so that's really big problem online is confusion and chaos, as you probably know. So anywhere where we can be clear, simple, tasteful too, good images, tasteful fonts, not overly done. That is welcoming, and some consistent colors in her brand can catch the eye. Okay, that's just I want to share that example with you before I go into the block editor of WordPress. So let's go into the block editor, so you know what that looks like. Again, the whole topic here is blocks, and I think what people want to know about is really these sections on the site, and that blocks is really the block editor in WordPress. That's how you edit pages. Okay, so I'm going to go into, here's my website, Coaching Sites That Work. Let me just close this window out. Here's the home page. I'm going to edit this page and show you the various blocks and what that looks like. So when you edit in blocks in WordPress, you're doing stuff on the back end, and it doesn't look exactly how it would be on the front end. Okay, so here's the back end, and for me to know what it looks like, I need to preview it. Excuse me. So when I click update, the little view comes up here, and then I can open that up and see what it looks like live. Okay, so this is the live site, which we've looked at already all this time. But on the back end, when you're doing edits, there's a block editor. Okay, so if this is your first time in here, it's going to be a bit hairy because there's these contextual menus that pop up. And it takes time to get used to moving around here. But if I click in here, like on the text here, there's a block. It's a heading block. Change your block style. And I can, so there's a block. And down here at the bottom are short ways to access each of the pieces of the block. So you can embed like a text in a 2-column block. Okay, and here's a heading block. Okay, I'm going to be throwing a lot of words out at you, and if you're brand spanking new to WordPress, this will look scary because it's a tool meant for someone to lay out a page well, and so it gives you a lot of options of stuff to do. But here's a block. It's an image block. So I just click on the image. You can see it's outlined in blue, and then I can. Here's a little grab bar. These 6 little dots. I can grab this and drag it and move it over here. If I move the image over there, then the image goes above there, and I can grab it and move it down here. Let's say between the heading and the text. I think it's going a little slow because I'm trying to record a video at the same time, a little bit resource intense. So let me drag that and pull that back over here. As you see, it turned blue. I drop it in there. And I can take this whole section here, and so this is actually a row layout block. And if I click this little arrow here, I can move the top section of the homepage straight down below the blog. So I just move that whole section down. And if I do preview, I can quickly take a look at how my homepage looks now that I move the top section down. I move that top block. So now at the top of my site is the blog post, and down below it is this section of content that was there before. So you see how quickly I moved content around just by moving that full block up. And I'm going to move that block back up. So as I move the mouse around, it will give me these bounding boxes so I can see what block I'm working on. So I move the mouse here, and I got a blue bounding box. I'm going to move it down here, and as I move it in, a bounding box. Well, I clicked already, so let me just click off. And see, there's a blue bounding box for this block. And then if I go here, there's this block outside this smaller block. Okay, so I'm showing you a page that's already laid out, and I'm not starting from scratch. So there's stuff going on in here. We're jumping right into an already full page. Probably a better video to learn just like the basics of blocks, creating a page for the first time, and it's get a blank canvas so you can see just a few of the basic things to put in. Right now, it's going to be a bit hairy for you to digest, but understand the concept of blocks, and I can just, like here, below my blog, I can add another block. Let's say just click on right here, and I can make it, there's all kinds of blocks you can do, even videos and stuff, bullet lists, headings. I can do a simple paragraph with just text. So I'm just going to quickly put a text block in here and just say, enjoy the reading. Okay, let's put that block there. And when I highlight text, it gives me some options here. I'm going to center it and italicize it. Let me update the page, and I'll show you. I just added a text block. It's really uneventful, but it is theoretically a block I can move up and down, like right here. See this blue bounding box? I can move that up. I can drag it. I can do all kinds of things with it. The great thing about blocks also is that you can save them and reuse them on other pages. So if you have a nice, like my email list block here, this is, I've grouped it and I've saved it as an email list sign up. So it's a reusable block, so to speak. So on other pages, I can pull that right in. That's why blocks are handy. It's just easy to move things around and save them. I'm not going into a lot of detail at the moment about that, just to let you know that the block editor is there. And this is going to be hairy because it is an established page I've done a lot of tweaks to it. So let me just reload this home page and show you the text block I've added in there. It's not so blocky looking, it's just some text here. Enjoy the readings like I put before. But sections, again, is probably more how you want to think when you edit your pages. Let's get rid of this block. I can just go here and remove block, update the page. And once the page is updated, I can do view page, or I have another tab open with my home page. I just reload it to see it. So, and there you have it. That's all I'm going into today. Eye-catching blocks, but what we really mean is eye-catching sections on your pages. Blocks is really the editor behind the scenes for WordPress, the block editor. Okay, so with that, I'm going to leave it there. My name is Kenn Schroder. I'm at coachingsitesthatwork.com. And hit like, please, or hit thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see other videos. I review websites. I share other kinds of tips, content, visual design, all under the heading of having a coaching website be attractive and engaging for your clients so that they'll see you as a coach they want to work with and then get on your list or contact you. Okay, you want clients, so we need people to see you as the coach that they should be working with and reach out to you. All right, Kenn Schroder, I'm off, and I hope you found this video helpful. Subscribe, hit like, hit thumbs up. Take care.